And as a device, I'm trying to go to Pilates class. You can just sit in the corner and look at your iPad or look at your hole and see what you can learn from that instead of being a device. So my call to action from that is, parents, do you want your kid to be a thought or an ass? That's where we're at.
Do you think our political leaders have a responsibility to turn their temperature?
Well, I think everyone has a responsibility to grow. I'm really not how you do that, and I'm doing my part.
Hey everybody, my name is Jake. This channel has no discernible brand identity, really. I just talk about whatever I want, mostly cults, and then just also other things. Like, for example, today, we're going to be talking about the television event of the fall, some people are saying. I haven't heard anyone say that, but I'm going to start saying it right now, and maybe we can get it going if it's true. We're talking, of course, about the Erica Kirk, Barry Weiss interview, An Evening with Erica Kirk, I believe it was labeled as. And also, please do sound off with how I sound. We're so happy to see Bo here, as per usual. We'll see. I'm pretty quiet. God damn it. Let's see. How about now? Is it a little bit better now? This microphone is really just not the best, folks. I got it. Speak up, please. Oh no. Yeah, it should be good, but it sounds amazing. Some people are saying, many people are saying. I don't know about that, but we do occasionally have some sound drops. I haven't streamed in a little bit, so I'm shaking the cobwebs off. We're not going to linger too long. We're not going to dilly-dally, but we do have to acknowledge that God has blessed us with his many harmless animals.
Our spiritual paradise is a place that has many harmless animals.
Now, what do we mean by this?
That's the little song that we play when a pet comes into frame. I don't really know what we're talking about. Oh, right. So one thing that happened today that I feel like we should acknowledge just because it's so crazy and horrible and tragic, and it's dominating the discourse, and it does feel kind of apropos to the Charlie Kirk conversation. It is Rob Reiner and his wife were stabbed to death horribly by their son, and this is all like it happened late last night, and it's all unraveling today. And Trump released this really horrifically gross statement that I won't read, but it was pretty astonishingly gross, even for him, like saying that essentially Rob Reiner, who in addition to being an iconic filmmaker who legitimately has made he's made several of my all-time favorite films. He's essentially, Trump was like, well, he was a once great filmmaker, and unfortunately his Trump derangement syndrome got him killed. Really gross. It seems like some of his supporters are calling him out, although who knows what's a bot and what's real anymore. Doesn't matter. What is real is the fact that happened, unfortunately. And another thing that's unfortunate is that it is being labeled by the right as an act of political violence, which it wasn't. Rob Reiner's son, Nick Reiner, was struggling with schizophrenia for a long time. I believe they even made a film together about it. So it's really horrific. There's no reason to think it was political, but Trump is politicizing it, and his supporters are, which is exactly what they were just saying to not do in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, which of course was also horrific. And so it is. I really haven't watched this Erica Kirk interview aside from that one clip that I downloaded so that, as per tradition on this channel, I could hastily throw together a shitty, silly edit 30 minutes before I start recording. I can't prove it, but that is true. I did do that. I mean, did it seem like I put that much effort into it? No. But other than that, I've only ever seen, ever, in my whole life, for the past week, I've only seen memes about Erica Kirk's eyes. Erica Kirk's eyes is what I'm Googling. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, yes, bold words, those. There might be some hypocrisy on the right. So, they're doing exactly what they said not to do, and Eric Kirk, as I saw in this clip, is saying to tone down the rhetoric, although oddly, Barry Weiss then follows up in the real thing that we'll watch, where they're not edited to say nonsense words. She asked her, like, well, is it on the president to also turn the temperature down? And Erica Kirk's like, well, it's on everyone to turn the temperature down, and I'm doing my part. And she gives this, like, really weird, like, take that face. Very strange. So it's a really sad day, but I do think that I need to laugh at something, and I think that we can laugh at this ridiculous thing that happened because it does feel notable. I mean, I talk about cults on this channel and the intersection with religion, and also mostly just whatever is on my mind. But there is something very culty about the Republican Party right now. Oh my God, let's not even get into that. Weird understatement. Here's another thing about this channel that happens sometimes. There's a conceit that I do, which is that I take an edible before I start live recording, and that is what happened, and so that is happening now. Another caveat I will give up top is that I'm having really bad luck with my videos, or my live streams getting hit with copyright strikes. Like, I covered the Ezra Klein, Ta-Nehisi Coates thing, and that one I think made it. But then the next one, like, I tried to talk about the Ross Douthat feminism ruin the workplace conversation, and that got hit, and we were reacting to Elon and Joe Rogan's conversation, and that got hit. So there's a chance that this will get hit. So this is a very exclusive stream that's happening. Watch it while you can. But also I'll be recording it, so whatever survives. But do let me know if it goes down, because weirdly StreamYard won't tell me if it goes down. I only found out last time because people in comments were like, it's down, we can't see you. But I was just like talking to myself like like an asshole. So everything I do kind of like an asshole, including what we're about to do. Now, with all the niceties that Erica Kirk is a grieving widow, which is sad, I really have no preconceptions of what this is going to be going into it. I obviously disagree intensely with Erica Kirk's opinions on all things, which, like Charlie Kirk famously said, that his wife was to the right of him. And I find it odd, as do some, the degree to which Erica Kirk has intentionally taken the spotlight in a way that feels borderline distasteful, even though, yes, it's up to her how she grieves. But a weird way to grieve is publicly and loudly every day on TV, while also being a little maybe too close with J.D. Vance. And so it's odd. And I was thinking that this TV event is very odd. Like, this was an evening with Erica Kirk, I think, although we'll see. By the way, a way around the copyright strike that I'm going to try is I downloaded the source video, so I won't be pulling it. Like, we won't be watching CBS or the Free Press's live stream. Oh boy, there's a bit of context to get to, sorry, but it's good to let people filter in. Now, unfortunately, I have to take a drink of water.
My church had been giving me ass to drink, but now I was freely receiving, come, the water of life.
I don't know how this channel hasn't blown up. I don't get it. Why is this content not appealing? What am I doing wrong? So yeah, I was thinking of this because it was kind of billed like a conversation, a town hall with Erica Kirk. I find it very weird that it's a town hall, because again, I was just thinking like a major figure, if the roles were reversed and like a big figure in liberal politics was assassinated, like, and I'm not, obviously we all hate political violence and we all hate everything that the YouTube terms of services hate as well. And we're all in compliance with that all the time. And a lot of the things that we're saying are jokes and it's just satire and people don't understand it. And also, I have some brain problems and I get a little hyper focused on things like my hair. And all of that is in the terms and conditions that I'm saying. And my voice just cracked because I hit puberty. But the important thing is Erica Kirk. So this thing kind of reminds me of in 30 Rock, where occasionally Jeff Donaghy will have to throw together some programming and pull something out of his ass. I'll be like, okay, we'll do NBC's tribute to fireworks, and then they'll just put on fireworks. And it's like, well, I guess that's something that you could put on TV, but it's a little strange. And I was thinking that if the roles were reversed and there was an influential young liberal influencer, like, I don't know, like Brian Tyler Cohen, we don't want anything to happen to him, but I don't know, or like Hassan Piker, like God forbid. If something like that happened, I think it would be weird if just a couple months after that assassination, if that person's wife or husband was on TV talking about political violence. Like, maybe not, actually. Maybe that would be okay. But I do think it would be weird if it was a town hall, because why? I don't know. Maybe, now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, maybe the concept of it alone is okay. Maybe this is okay. Like, from the perspective of the right, Charlie Kirk, I mean, at least the way they're trying to portray it, is this is a modern-day Christ-like figure. This is a modern-day Apostle Paul, some have literally said. And one of the most important people of all time has been struck down. And so we're going to treat it like it's one of the most important things to have ever happened. And Barry Weiss is going along with that. So the last weird bit of context is that Barry Weiss is a total hack, and she's currently the editor-in-chief of CBS News? What's the proper designation here? Barry Weiss is editor-in-chief of CBS News. Okay, yes. So in my main channel videos, I've referenced that I have a video that I've been working on about the media, and like how the media shaped the perception of Elon Musk that allowed him to become this untouchable, too big to fail billionaire. But it's been a while. Like, I've had to put it off because reality keeps changing in crazy ways. And in one small way is that when I wrote this like 4 months ago originally, Barry Weiss, I had an offhanded joke about Barry Weiss that felt a little inside because it was just like a snarky little reference. And then like a month or two after that, she literally became the editor-in-chief of CBS News and did this. But also she has her own news outlet, which is a Substack called The Free Press, not to be confused with the other famous thing called The Free Press. Very weird. And she's able to keep her Substack somehow, because what I downloaded this from was The Free Press's channel. I truly don't understand this. It's really weird, but it's just, the reason why it happened is because every major news institution has bent the knee to Trump and installed sycophants and lackeys. And Barry Weiss is not a news person, you know, for whatever you think of her politics. She was a contrarian, conservative opinion piece writer and has no real editorial news experience, let alone the kind of things that CBS is known for. Although, like, I haven't really watched CBS News other than anything other than 60 Minutes in I don't know how long. Then again, as a millennial, I never really watched linear television news consistently at any point in my life, unless I was like in the fucking hospital. Hey, thanks so much, Dylan Saleri. Carlos, $79.70, $5. You're my favorite YouTuber. Thank you so much. Do you think humans are bioengineered to practice mate-based cannibalism like praying mantises? I don't know how to answer that question, so I won't. I have to think on that and pray about it. Barry Weiss and her sham Substack called The Free Press infamously published this article that was saying that those Palestinians are inflating the number of children deaths because we looked into it, and it turns out a lot of those supposedly dead babies, well, they really are dead, but it wasn't the starvation that killed them. It was having diabetes. They had like pre-existing conditions, so the starvation didn't really count when you think about like one of the most horrific pieces of supposed reporting ever. It was disgusting. And now this person, this partisan hack, is in charge of a news institution. That's kind of why I'm interested to watch it. Also, all of the memes about Barry Weiss's eyes, Barry Weiss's eyes seem relatively normal. But Erica Kirk eyes Chucky meme. I'm trying to find this thing I saw. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to open this and then, oh my God. It opened up the tiny, here. This is even better. So I Googled to try and find the stupid meme because, of course, I didn't actually pull it. This is it. I tried to blow it up in a larger tab. I opened it. And this is what it looks like. It's the tiniest. It's not even showing up. This is sad. This is sad. Why is it not working, Charlie? Here. Yeah, but then, like, look at that. That's what it gave me. Unacceptable. And that's not important, but it kind of is when you think about it. The internet's trying to hide these things because people like Erica Kirk are in charge of the news. I don't know. What was I saying? Barry Weiss. Okay. So we'll watch this weird piece of what kind of seems to me like propaganda, although I guess I don't know what the harm is. I'm biased against all of this, but I am not opposed to a conversation about how we need to tone down the violent rhetoric in our country. That seems good. So maybe that's what it is, and I'm just being a lily-livered coward.
Valley University.
There's an emergency response there, flooded by law enforcement.
The conservative activist Charlie Kirk has died after being shot during an event.
Has died.
The latest horrible example of what appears to be a rising tide of political violence.
In the past year, we've seen assassinations and assassination attempts against a Republican
I'm going to try and get a sense of what the volume balance is like here.
And a conservative activist.
This is very strange.
Charlie was doing what he loved.
That's a different question.
Arguing and debating on campus.
That seems okay.
Thinking way too simple about this. You got to go deeper.
Truth.
Oh, yeah. Charlie Kirk was a deep thinker, really wanted people to dive deep into stuff. No, I mean, should we get into this, or should we take it as a given that Charlie Kirk was a complete hack? He was just a bought and paid for partisan hack that put on these political events and often kind of did debates, but they weren't really debates. They were college kids could step up to a microphone and he would yell his talking points at them and post TikToks. And the jury's kind of out on how influential he was with the youth, I think. Was Charlie Kirk actually appealing to young people, or was he like perhaps the aforementioned Brian Tyler Cohen, God forbid? Does he perhaps appeal to an older audience that wants to feel like they're connected to the young people? So they like seeing a young guy speak their values. Maybe. Perhaps it's something like that. And all this guy ever did was spread hate and division, and he was a bad person.
In front of a big crowd.
Free
then he
speech. This is the
blinked
free press on this channel.
And saw his savior in paradise.
What? So that was absurd. This is a big reason why this is being criticized, and by this I mean Erica Kirk, not to be dehumanizing. She seems so blatantly performative. When I say her eyes are going viral, it's like close-ups on her absurd reactions, because you can just see how melodramatic it is, even without hearing it. Although we should make sure we take in every minute of this to make sure we're not missing important context.
When you stop the dialogue, this is what happens. When we lose the ability and the willingness to communicate.
This is what happens.
We get violence.
CBS News presents a town hall with
That picture looks nothing like her. Looks like a totally different person.
I'm Barry Weiss, editor-in-chief of CBS News, and I want to...
Okay, the audio is a little out of sync with the video, maybe, or maybe it's my Bluetooth headphone, but either way, I'm playing the raw source. I'm playing it raw. I'm raw dogging it, so it's StreamYard's fault, and I had nothing to do with it. Gal Gadot is a better actress than her. Kal-El, yes. I think the most controversial opinion I have of all time is that I watched the Justice League movie, and I never had any strong opinions on her saying, Kal-El, no. I thought it was as goofy as anything else in that movie. And I do like that movie. I like the Snyder Cut, I'll say it.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
I'd say release it, but they did, and I liked it.
If you're watching this, or you're sitting here
You know
in this
we
room
like
with
it
me,
raw.
you know what I know, which is that we live in a very divided
You know
country.
what I know.
A country where many people feel that they can't speak across the
God,
political
there's
divide.
something... Why does this look like shit, first of all? This is such a shitty set. If you saw this in a movie, you would think, TV doesn't really look like that. This looks like the 700 Club. It doesn't look like... Or whatever that show is, where Christians sit on little floofy chairs. I don't know the technical names for basically anything. I'm a simpleton. From Corn Cob, Ohio. Just doing my best over here. The video is stuttering, right? Uh-oh. Is that true? Let's do a little tech check. Let's do a little tech check-in.
Sometimes they feel they can't even speak across their own kitchen table.
Televangelist vibes is
One
right.
of the goals of the new CBS
We need a
News
tech
is to
check-in
change that.
sound drop.
And this town hall is just the beginning. This is going to be the first of many conversations and debates on CBS
Seems okay to
News
me.
about the things that matter most.
Maybe we
which
got
are
some
often
haters out
the
there
hardest to talk
lying. I'm
I
totally
can make
kidding.
one promise to you, and it's
Yeah, it
this.
might be the video
You
itself.
will not agree with everything you hear tonight or in any of these other broadcasts. And
Did she promise us that? Did I miss it, or was that a promise? Because that's a big thing in life.
will not agree with everything you hear tonight and even speak across their own kitchen table.
Oh.
And one of the goals of the new CBS News is to change that. And this town hall...
Oh, well, this is important. She's acknowledging that this is a new CBS News, almost to explain to viewers who are not super online, or like, why would anybody be following who the new editor-in-chief of CBS News is unless you were a nerd like everybody on this channel, including me. So I think it's good that she's out there to explain that CBS is worse now, dear viewer, because there's a new sheriff in town and it's me and I suck. That's what I got out of that. But she's also acknowledging that, or rather promising, that we won't agree with everything she's saying.
Just the beginning. This is going
Look
to
at
be
all
the
the
first
young-
of many
young people
conversations
there.
and debates on CBS News
Youths.
about the things that matter most, which are often the hardest to talk about.
This
I can make
this
one promise to you, and it's this.
unironically,
You will not agree with everything you hear tonight.
yeah.
or Often the hardest to talk about. I can make one promise to you, and it's
One
this.
promise.
You will not agree with everything you hear tonight or in any of these other broadcasts. And that is exactly the point. Because the premise of a democracy
Wow.
is that we persuade each other with words and not violence. And that the only
Okay,
way to get to
agreed.
the
This
truth
looks so
is by talking to
shitty.
one another. And that
This looks like a bad horror movie that they throw together a set because they only have a day to shoot this thing, but there's a murder that happens on a talk show, so they have to throw together something. And I don't know, it's America, so put some red, white, and blue bullshit up. And then we'll have kids sitting in high chairs from Ruby Tuesdays. And also, one of them has gray hair and is not a kid.
Brings me right to tonight's guests, Erica Kirk. 3 months ago, Erica Kirk's husband, Charlie, was assassinated on a college campus in Utah. To some, Charlie Kirk was controversial. To others, he was heroic.
Well, no, I'm going to nitpick that language there. I don't know if we necessarily need to go into the nitpick corner.
Why is it necessary to be so picky, to be so fussy?
So I'll play the one without music, just in case. But it's not that he's controversial to some, like, and to others he was a hero. Like, you're just controversial, you know. It's like, well, you think he's controversial. It's like, no, I think he's bad. And to you, that is and now we don't agree, and that's the controversy. The controversy is that you think he's a hero, and I think he was a bad person, or, you know, did bad things. I don't know what he believed deep down inside in his heart, but to paraphrase something Sam Cedar said one time, like, I don't really care about what's in your heart. I care about what you do with your life. And I don't like the things he did or the things he said, but that's okay because he's not, you know, it's fine. I agree with the premise of this. I just think it's kind of annoying. Like, this is virtue signaling. It's like, we're not going to be woke news anymore.
What is indisputable is that he transformed the American right in the 21st century. He did it through an organization called Turning Point USA.
Yes. This really is giving 30 Rock.
In the wake of Charlie's murder, Erica has now picked up his mantle. The mother of 2 young children, she is also now the CEO and chairwoman of Turning Point.
Oh, God, why did she look scary when she said that?
Tragedy. And tonight,
I actually think the stars look kind of rad. I'm hating, but in isolation, I like Banner. I like Banner, Michael.
In the audience, we have other victims of the political
A lot of things that I say will make no sense unless you can make 30 Rock references.
Students, young Christians, and others invited by CBS News.
Because I'm basic.
From some of them tonight. Okay, we have a lot to talk about.
That one kid just looked
so Erica,
surprised.
Let's get started. Thank you so much.
Like, I didn't know that's what this shit was going to be.
I was very...
Here's what I would like to know, and maybe there is reporting on this, but is the audience, is this like kind of how they fill talk show and game show audiences? Like, they give out free passes on the street and stuff, but you don't necessarily know what you're going to watch? Or are these custom hand-picked people? Well, I guess so, because it's a town hall, so everything's vetted that they're doing.
Hearing from some of them tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a lot to talk about. So, Erica, let's get started. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I was very grateful when you had reached out because it was an opportunity to be able to have a conversation that Charlie always enjoyed, being able to have dialogue on both sides so that people could really hear everything that's going on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for making the time. There's so many subjects I want to cover.
I mean, she should have more free time now. No. Now, this is the controversy right here, is there's a darkness residing within this shell. This is what we're talking about when we mean ugly on the inside. Like, by all accounts, a traditionally beautiful woman. I'm not trying to shame anybody's looks, but this isn't a look necessarily. This is on a spiritual level, something has decayed. And now she is just kind of like, there's 2 little demons in here looking through porcelain eye-like windows. But is Erica Kirk really there?
I want to begin with
was she ever?
The hours and days.
This is what we think about on the channel.
Murdered.
Yes.
You got in his
I like
studio.
Barry Weiss's outfit.
From for many hours every day.
Yeah.
I would wear that exact same suit and his glasses.
Have no idea what you have just.
Oh my God, that's just straight up. Look at this. I saw like a tweet that was like, it's not actually a tweet, but that's just what I call all threads and blue skies and such. But it was like a picture or a video of her insane, over the top facial reactions, and it said, a lot of actors struggle transitioning from the stage to the screen. And I mean, they said it funnier than that, but it really is the kind of thing where this over the top performance makes a lot more sense on stage at CPAC, where you're in a stadium. But when it's a camera close up on your face, it's cartoonish. It just doesn't seem like a sincere reaction.
What did you mean by that?
Yes,
Let me
like
give
she
you a little
needs to.
background of that day.
Her soul is like, she needs like restored every
home.
once in a while.
The team goes to dinner.
A fembot, yes,
I'm
absolutely.
laying in my daughter's bed, and I can't sleep. It took me months to even walk into my bedroom. I'm laying in my daughter's bed. I can't sleep. I grab my phone and I start
I made that
typing
sound
out.
at her eyes, not at what she's saying.
And those
Other
are
than
my
that, it
words.
feels so scripted. Now, get a look at that. That's something. And we might have to take a screenshot of that, because that's quite a face. There's just something about it, and I'm no body language expert. If I was, I'd have 1 million subscribers by now. But maybe this is like the Holy Spirit adding a little extra sauce to the mix. I don't know. She's just extra animated because of God.
The team reached out to me and said, they think they got the guy. You should probably say thank you to the authorities and just make a statement. I said, okay. I wasn't afraid. They said, let's go to the office and let's discuss. We're at the office and they say, do you want to go live, or we can easily,
Sorry,
what?
I had to blow my nose.
Yeah, let's do that. We can easily pre-record this. I said, absolutely not. My husband always went live. I have nothing to hide. We're fully transparent. What you
I have
see
nothing
is
to
what you
hide,
get. If
but
I start
don't show
breaking
the
down on live TV, I
teleprompters,
break down on
please.
live TV. My husband was assassinated. He didn't die in a car accident.
We know that.
So we go live. I write all of my own speeches.
Oh,
When I
really?
said
Those
that-
are originals? That's crazy. I thought that she had hired a poet laureate or a Pulitzer Prize winning speechwriter. Every year they give out a Pulitzer to who wrote the most beautiful speech. And that's who I assumed was writing the amazing words we heard earlier, like, violence is bad.
That is the Holy Spirit that is unleashed.
Ah, that explains
That
it.
is a revival that's unleashed.
The Holy Spirit is unleashed, and that's why her
not
eyes are
meant
doing
for
that.
Call to violence. That's meant for people to understand that the Lord is moving in ways we have no idea. And God is going to use something
Okay, I can't, this feels like the Hunger Games. Like, it feels like the propaganda that the kids have to, sit down and take part in with Stanley Tucci when we get a touch of the Tooch in those movies. And it's like everybody knows it's propaganda. Everyone knows it's a show, but you got to do it.
tragic to wake people up to realize that our life is short. He only lived 31 years.
She was in my intro a little bit. I hadn't thought of it like that. Sorry, I just gulped right into the mic.
You have no idea what has been unleashed.
You have no idea what has been
I
unleashed.
promise until my last breath that I will let the Lord use me in ways that he only can.
No, let's not say things like that. I'll let the Lord use me in ways only he can. I don't like that. I think even when it comes to the Lord, church and state, no pun intended,
To bring glory to him and to the kingdom. And it has been unbelievably powerful. And it's just the beginning.
Erica, one of the most alarming things about Charlie's murder was the way that some people in this country reacted to it.
You know, I really... I need a sound drop for this, although maybe if I did, it would just be underlying music throughout the whole video. But to make this about me, I had a moment watching this where I was like, if I was still a Jehovah's Witness and I still believed in like Armageddon and the Bible and the end times and things like that, and I was watching something like this on TV, I think it would really freak me out, because there is something that feels end times about this, that in the 21st century, in 2025, there are people just talking about the power of Jesus Christ on the evening news and violence, and it's all creepy and over the top. Like, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like this is real life. And sometimes I struggle with, like, how do people not realize they're in cults? But I don't know. I mean, it is scary times, and this is scary objectively. She's a scary looking person saying scary things. And, you know, watch my video on Stephen Lett. There may be scary looking people. There's something to it.
And not just online. This was an idea that you encountered a lot. And the idea was this. They kind of justified it. They basically said that because Charlie said or believed
it does.
things.
Good point, my wife. Good point, brilliant woman who I married. If you have to go on a talking tour about the murder of your husband instead of grieving in private, it makes you go, Like, that's the thing that, I mean, she's gotten grief from this from the right as well. I didn't get into this bit of context. Oh my God. But Erica Kirk is in a bit of a feud, is underplaying it, with the most prominent, most watched conservative influencer in the United States, which is Candace Owens. Candace Owens is massive. She is also increasingly anti-MAGA. She's like, MAGA's over. I'm my own kind of conservative, and I don't trust this narrative about Charlie Kirk's death. You know, she believes that it was a political hit job by Israel, and she's a kind of ingenious grifter, Candace Owens. It's like I like watching the Ocean's 11 movies, because it's satisfying to see a plan go off, to see a satisfying heist. And that's what it feels like watching Candace Owens. It's like, you gotta admire how many millions of people she's conning with the most hateful, horrible, obviously fake bullshit in the world. It's almost admirable. Like a Fox, friend of the channel, says, why is her first assumption that she would have something to hide when declining to pre-record? Wouldn't most people who are grieving be concerned about their mental state more? Yeah, like, it seems like a live thing is so bad for your mental state when you're grieving. Like, I was a little nervous before going live tonight, because it had been a while since I've done it. Although, to be honest, Erica Kirk live streams a lot more than me. Her output has been a lot more consistent than mine.
Controversial or even hateful.
And you see that reflected in the numbers.
Had it coming. What do you say to people who justified his death?
You're sick.
Whoa.
He's a human being.
But what about you, though? Because look at this. He is a human being. And he married one, can't you see? He would never have married a robot.
You think he deserved that?
Look how often
Tell
I
that
blink.
to my 3-year-old daughter.
Just like humans. It feels bad. She is a grieving widow. I mean, look how hard she's grieving. It's hard to miss. But this feels like fake fucking bullshit to me, and it's weird. And this is a free fucking country. It's not, but it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to talk about this as if fascism wasn't a looming threat, and NSPM 7 or whatever that bill is that makes everybody a terrorist now. I'm just going to talk like I would if that wasn't happening.
Excuse me. You want to watch in high res the video of my husband being murdered?
Yeah, that is fucked up, by the way. And it's a video I desperately wish I hadn't watched. Absolutely horrible, like burned in my brain forever. And I don't discount that. Like that absolutely is. I can't imagine. Now, where I come into conflict a little bit is I'm not sure that Erica Kirk actually has a conscience or a soul, and so I don't know if she actually is capable of caring about this sincerely, but I will pretend that she is, and I sympathize.
Very sick in your soul, and I pray that God saves you. I pray.
And also, speaking of high resolution,
because that is what is
I had to
so
do
wrong.
720p.
The internet in this world has dehumanized us. My husband did something.
I agree with that. However, she has aligned herself with the political movement who is sending secret police, masked, unaccountable police force into our major cities and small towns and Home Depots and grabbing people off the streets with no due process, and a lot of times they're citizens and they still are beaten and made to feel humiliated and have to go through this horrible process that's very dehumanizing. And then the Trump White House will post an AI meme of like Miyazaki-style meme of fucking ICE taking an abuela into the back of one of their paddy wagons. Like, the call is coming from inside the house. The main source of violent rhetoric are Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance. They are all, I think it's pretty clear, they want there to be a violent response to this. They want to be able to provoke people into responding violently so that they can invoke the Insurrection Act. I mean, that's not something I know for sure, so just in case.
Welcome, Internet. I'm so happy to share with you this conspiracy theory.
But that's kind of what I think. And it almost seems to me like they're a little frustrated that people aren't, that people, like, the response has been like confrontationally peaceful protests and civil disobedience and obstructing ICE vehicles and just standing with your neighbors. Like the response, although the mainstream news, like fucking CBS, you know, the CBS of 1 year ago would have been airing on a daily basis the resistance to ICE in our towns across the country. But that's not what they're doing. Those things are being actively suppressed and removed and censored, and the people who post them are being put on terrorist watch lists. And the media is also not talking about the fact that people are being put on terrorist watch lists. Hard thing to say. Maybe that's why they're not talking about it as much. But no, I think it's because it's true. I mean, it's a executive order that Trump signed. Look into Ken Klippenstein's reporting. He's been leading the charge on this, and it's really important. But the mainstream news doesn't talk about it much because they are now controlled by people who got their jobs so that they would do what Trump wants. And so they're just not going to talk about it. And you see that not just in like television news, but in like the Washington Post and New York Times and all that shit now. You really have to rely on smaller independent reporting now to get the real shit.
Very simple. He talked to people. You're going to be murdered for talking to people. He didn't go after people. He went after your ideas. And if you think it's okay.
And so this, by the way, is like, this is why I thought it was worth bringing up the Rob Reiner thing earlier, because I'm so sorry. It's Rob Reiner and his wife, who I should know. If I'm going to keep bringing this up, it's not great to just say his wife. Michelle Singer Reiner? Robin Michelle Reiner. Okay. You know, that happened just a few days after this, and yet the president himself is turning the temperature up. So it's just like, who is this message really going to? It all feels like it's trying to make it seem like, hey, we're the ones saying to turn the temperature down. The real violence is coming from the left. Can't you see? And meanwhile, they're suppressing the evidence of all the violent things that this administration is doing. So it's a feedback loop.
To murder someone because you think they had it coming for them because they took the time to have people come to the front of the line if they didn't agree with you, and you think it's okay because you don't like what they say or how they say it, that they should be murdered, and you're enjoying it and you're rejoicing in that?
Okay, oh, God. Well, this is going to be controversial. We're really looking right into those peepers. Again, not a body language expert because they don't exist. Watch that Mooncat video. It's really good. Not that she needs my endorsement. Actually, watch less Mooncat and watch more my channel. That's how viewing works. Watch your favorite things less. Okay. Back to what's important, which is this little rivulet of snot trickling down. And that's something that I don't think you can fake. Like, if you're fake crying, are you also fake snotting? That feels like something that only happens with the real cry. But then again, it's not like I've like fake cried a bunch of times in my life. So I don't know what I'm talking about. She's the one with all the techniques.
That is evil.
And she would know. Love that. Love this very not scripted moment.
As you know,
where she goes,
and as I know,
tissue.
One of the ideas
goes,
that has
dab,
gained
dab,
a
dab,
lot
dab.
of traction
Sniffle,
among young
sniffle.
people, especially in this country,
Look into the
Erica,
camera.
and this leads them to this kind of justification, is the idea that words themselves are violence. And that...
Now, hang on a second. Where is she going with this? Because this, like, attacking the idea that words are violence was very, very important to Charlie Kirk. Like, he talked about it many times. Okay, yeah, right? Like, when I cry, my face is, like, contorted in my... Like, it's really hard to talk. My voice goes up in, like, a different register. Like, I definitely couldn't be carrying on a conversation and, like, checking my makeup in the second monitor. I don't know.
brings us tonight to our first audience question. It comes from Angel Eduardo. Angel is a senior
ICE
writer
ads?
and editor.
I've heard that. See, I have premium, so I don't see ads. So do let me know, by the way, if you are watching a video of mine and you notice a lot of ads, leave a comment on the video if you can, or email me if you want. But, like, I'll see it in my creator inbox. You have to comment, because sometimes YouTube will add ads, and you see how they make it confusing with just the language. That was hard to say just now.
For the civil libertarian group, the Foundation for
It's all part of their
Individual Rights
plan.
and Expression, or FIRE, and he writes passionately about issues of free speech.
This is why I married you. She's checking her makeup, and Barry Weiss's huge glasses.
A recent survey that we...
like in fucking Spider-Man 2. With the car reflection in his glasses. Okay, all right. That's good. We're missing... damn it. It's that edible. I can't remember people's names. I was going to make a pop culture reference.
Senior writer and editor for the civil libertarian group, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or FIRE.
Whoa, that was so many words. The something for individual rights and expression?
Rights and expression. And that brings us tonight to our first audience question. It comes from Angel Eduardo. Angel is a senior writer and editor for the civil libertarian group, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or FIRE, and he writes passionately about issues of free speech. Angel.
Thank you, Perry. Excuse me. Hi, Erica. My condolences. A recent survey that we took after Charlie's assassination found that...
This is so strange. So it's not a town hall because this guy is a notable writer for a partisan publication. All right, so I just looked up the civil whatever the fuck. No, let's take a look before we decide to sign up and stay in the know. Free speech makes free people. The Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression mission is to defend and sustain the individual rights of all Americans to free speech and free thought as essential qualities of liberty. They mean the N-word. Because, like, what else are they talking about, really? They just want to be able to say stuff that sucks, right? I guess I don't actually know that. Maybe it's important. How can we get involved? They have colleges. Wait, because I don't have college education, really. I don't really have anything I can put on a resume. Here you can find all the information FIRE has compiled about a school you care about, giving you the full picture of the state of free speech on campus. Oh, wait. I thought, for some reason, when I clicked on this, I would be given a list of FIRE schools, but it's not that. It's like they rank the school based on how amenable they are to conservative thought, if they're not too libby. Sorry, I think I probably fucked it up.
Of undergraduates believe to some extent that words can be violence.
Mm-hmm. Believe that. They believe that. To me, this gets into my least favorite things about political conversation, like my least favorite kind of political conversations. And I'll say this is a both sides of the aisle problem of just like getting really hyper specifically focused on words and definitions. I mean, you saw it a lot, or it's still among some see it in the debates about like, well, is it really a genocide what's happening in Gaza? And you know, all of this time was and attention and think pieces and smart people podcasts was dedicated to like, well, really, what's the definition and all of the technically blah blah blah. And it's like, is that specific definition of that word the thing that's important, or is it stopping this thing from happening that's important? And why is it so important to you to be like, no, it's not this bad. It's still an acceptable level of people being killed. An acceptable level of innocent children are being killed on an hourly basis. And that's the kind of conversation I feel like you get into when you're like, well, are words violence? It's like, well, a word can't stab you literally, but can a word incite to violence? Can words cause psychological distress that, you know, could be constituted as violence? But in any case, it's, you know, it's bullying. Can bullying or hate speech, can those things, and just plain old incitements to violence, are those the same thing as actually shooting someone in the head? It's like, well, no, they're different things, but are they acceptable? Should a free and fair society, can we have a functioning democracy, a functioning free and fair society, if that kind of speech is allowed to exist with zero repercussions? You know, there are other countries who have stricter First Amendment, have stronger limits on free speech than us, and I'm a big free speech person on YouTube. I mean, I'm saying all sorts of controversial things. This is a very Bill Maher type show. I'm really challenging things, and I'm doing a snarky voice and smirking and stuff. I can't do a Bill Maher, and I have to take a sip of water.
My church had been giving me ass to drink, but now I was freely receiving, come, the water of life.
Sorry about that. But anyway, like, I don't really understand the point of this conversation of our words violence. It seems to me like it's a workaround for the more difficult but more pertinent conversation, which is, what do we as a society do about violent speech? We're a country that has basically no limits on speech, except in pretty extreme circumstances. So is this one of those extreme circumstances? You know, that's the difficult conversation, but they want to get into a semantic conversation I find really annoying.
Another fire survey that we took earlier also found that
glass houses and such. I mean, I get into annoying semantic arguments constantly.
Disfavored speech can be acceptable, at least in rare cases. What's your response to those numbers?
It looks like he has a Superman pin, but I'm sure it's something important, and I just was mean.
Well, for the people who say that my husband might have incited violence, I know that was not your question, but I'm going to put a squash before anyone else can attach to that. My husband never incited violence. He never once said, go after them because they're saying X, Y, Z and they deserve to die. My husband never once that, and he never will.
Okay. See, this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, everybody, this is the Mott and Bailey fallacy, where the Mott is like your tower on the hill, or I think, what the fuck? Don't worry about what it actually is. It's like you have a sensible thing that you're saying that everybody can agree with. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to say, go after that person and kill them because of what they believe in. He never said that. And anybody who says that my husband said that is crazy. When, of course, like, well, nobody's saying that he did that. People are saying something a little bit more complicated, which is that he consistently flamed hatred and suggested that there ought to be violent consequences for people like that, and that people ought to rise up, and obviously was such a proponent of gun violence that it was the very thing he was talking about when he was killed by gun violence in what was, for all intents and purposes, a school shooting. And yet Charlie Kirk famously said that there are acceptable, that, like, in his belief, in the Second Amendment, he thought that we would just have to live in a society where a certain amount of people die due to mass shootings every year. And he thought that was a trade-off that was worth it. And so, like, is that the same thing as, like, speech is violence? I don't know. But what he does with his speech is creates a world that is more violent, where people are more willing to be violent and where there are more guns, like, very actively on a policy level, making sure that there are fewer restrictions on gun ownerships, even common sense mental health background checks. You know, he was a propagandist for the NRA. He was just a shill who got paid money to say what rich people, captains of industry types, wanted him to say. Oil companies wanted him to say that climate change was not a big deal. Maybe it's not even real, but even if it is, we don't have to do anything about it. And the liberals, with all their crazy ideas, want to essentially destroy society by forcing you to get an electric car. It doesn't really make any sense, but anyway, it doesn't really matter what I was saying. It was all bullshit.
What did he say?
I forgot.
Come to the front of the line. I'll put my mic down.
Yeah, so she's just like, she's underplaying what he said, what the actual controversial things he said.
People heckling, laughing at them. Stop. It took a lot of courage for them to come
Yeah,
up
exactly.
Here.
And it's like,
that.
Well, nobody's saying that everything's violence, but I think the reality is that, like, lowercase L liberalism, just being not a conservative, let's say, just being like a critical thinker, some kind of skeptical. There's nothing I can say that isn't cringy or, like, too narrow a definition. But in a democracy, it's it's a concession that things are complicated and that people aren't going to get along, not because of like black and white differences, but because of small differences. Like, we're all human and we all have weird little differences. And so everything's kind of complicated, and it's hard to just make hard and fast rules about things because, well, what about this? What about that? And that's where they start talking about, like, oh, well, these colleges and their philosophy that make people think all these crazy things when the Bible clearly says that gay people shouldn't even be alive technically. They just don't like critical thinking. And so this whole thing is just a way to reframe what should be a meaty conversation.
He gave them a microphone.
And it said it's a cheaty conversation. They're cheating and doing fake propaganda. Bill
what
Maher.
they do, they gave him a bullet in the neck.
Whoa. Okay.
Totally different. But you have secular
yes, everyone agrees it's different.
That want to come out and say, you can't say that, and I'm going to stop you from saying it.
But maybe it's still not good in a different way.
You don't have a conversation. Something as simple as a conversation.
I think of the ContraPoints line where I first learned about the Mott and Bailey fallacy. Where I think it's her J.K. Rowling video. She's like, that's literally all I'm saying.
And this is
the way
what
she
is
says
so
that is
fascinating
so
to me.
And she basically did that. Like, that's all
My
I'm
husband
saying.
knew that something as simple as having a conversation could change the world.
It's simple.
So simple. That is an ancient thing. Come and sit down and have coffee.
I'll tell you how
with
simple
me.
it is.
Why
It's
do you
so
believe
simple.
what you believe? 80s and 90s, they were doing this in Congress. Then
Oh,
going to
the
have a
fucking
subway
80s and
afterwards.
90s.
Why don't we do that anymore? Instead, it's violence. Usually one-sided. I'm not going to go there.
So they want,
But
like,
you know what's
Reagan
so
era
interesting about my
capitalism
husband's
or
book? The
Clinton era
last
capitalism,
book
which wasn't
he
that
will
different.
ever write. It could have been about politics. It could have been about football. It could have been about anything. He was multidimensional. It literally says, stop in the name of God.
What does that have to do with anything? Like, yeah, but he wasn't controversial because of his football opinions. That's not the reason why people were mad at him.
Stop. Stop the violence. Stop the hate. Have a conversation. Stop. And what
Stop
he knew in
it.
that book was not just so much stop that, take a minute to get off of your phone and realize that we are all human, operating on this broken
She said,
planet,
broadcast
all
to millions of phones around the world. Well, not millions. The Free Press YouTube feed, this had 83,000 views, which, like, I would view it based on who I am and my status, and the fact that I am capable of making a video, not consistently, but sometimes it happens that I get more than 83,000 views, and I haven't made anything nearly as historic and important a conversation as this.
No one's perfect, and we're not getting out of here alive. But what he knew in that book was the balancing factor of communication. You cannot communicate.
We're about to learn about the balancing factor. Whip out your notepads. Whip out your handy-dandy notebooks.
With someone if you're not at peace with yourself.
Everything
So
is
we went on
computer,
campus,
it's phone.
Kid, they're screaming at
It's
him.
Bible.
Screaming.
Oh my God. And shame on me for not having It's Bible at the ready. But we can all just imagine our good friend Derek saying It's Bible.
Does he scream back?
I wonder
Not
what he
once.
thinks about this. Let's
He
check in
sits
with his opinions on this later.
And you know what he's thinking? It's in that book. Maybe you need to take a few hours. Get off your phone. Go for a walk in nature. Go sit and have a coffee. Go and tell your mother you love her. Go do something that is beautiful and healing instead of trying to tear something down that you did not.
She had me at Mother, You Love Her. I don't know what that means. Okay. I'll also say, in the interest of fair and balancedness, that I agree with this. I do think that people should be off their phones more, and, like, I have done a pretty good job of, like weaning off the phone quite so much. But I still have a long ways to go. But like I feel like I've gotten my attention span back to the degree where I can sit down and read for a long period of time, and that was the thing that really made me feel like I needed to wind down my phone time, was the fact that like, man, I don't have the attention span to read anymore, which is like, that used to be my favorite hobby. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? So, on the basics, I agree with what Erica Kirk is saying. Get off your phone and don't post violent hate speech. I think that's true, but this is kind of dodging any kind of accountability for the fact that her husband's entire career was built on stochastic terrorism and essentially stoking the flames of lonely white disaffected young men into performing violent acts of terrorism against people of color. Like, that's essentially what we get real honest when we're on edibles, folks. But that's essentially what Charlie Kirk was somebody who tried to start a race war by pissing people off. Like, I mean, he, at the very least, he just wanted to use real world controversies to make a fucking dollar, which I still think sucks. And was it all a book pitch? Yeah, and also, who is she yelling at? Because basically all that guy said was like, hey, 90% of, he said 90% of college students, which is a nice little bit of backdoor propaganda, like, woke universities, guys. 90% of woke people at the woke factory believe this woke thing. This is the degradation of our society. And by the way, another thing that Erica Kirk should be advocating is for herself to not be on TV, because if she was really following the Bible and what her religion professes, she would not be in this place of prominence on television. She would be submissive. But she's full of shit. I want to hear about this book.
It's in that book. Maybe you need to take a few hours.
Whoa, what?
You cannot communicate with someone if you're not at peace with
Oh,
yourself.
the fucking Bible.
So
oh
he
my
went
God.
on campus talking to a kid.
The
They're
fucking
screaming
Bible.
at him. Screaming. Does he scream back? Not once. He sits there. And you know what he's thinking?
He was brave.
It's in that book. Maybe you need to take a few hours. Get off your phone. Go
It's
for
in
a
that
walk
book.
in nature.
It's in that
Go
good
sit
book,
and have a
folks.
coffee. Go and tell your mother you love
Its
her.
words stay the
Go
same,
do
but we
something
change.
That is beautiful and healing instead of trying to tear something down that you did not build. That's my
Who's
thought on that.
you? This is the problem with how we post on the internet, too. Is we're like, y'all aren't ready for this conversation. Like, I don't fuck with you because blah, blah, blah. And it's like, who are you yelling at? Who's you? Because it feels like you're yelling at me, and now I'm going to get in a fight with you.
We're going to talk about the book in a little bit, but I want to pick up on a theme that you've
Oh,
now
wow,
hit on
what?
twice,
There's a
which
fucking
is the
book?
idea that the black squares that we all have in our pocket,
Oh, the
our
black
phones,
squares.
Yes.
that they
The
are doing
monoliths.
something to us collectively, that they are dehumanizing us. Later, we'll talk about the conspiracies that are
God help me if
spreading
I
right now
agree.
on those platforms about who killed your husband. What do you recommend to people sitting in this room?
Those are
What your
extensions, right?
practices?
That's not... her hair is not actually that long. Are we on the same page about this, or am I wrong? I mean, I'm not an expert.
To disconnect, to
Let alone a
reconnect by
sexpert.
disconnecting.
Well,
Not that anybody
like
asked.
my husband, I took all of it off my phone.
All social media off your phone.
All
don't have it
of
on my
yeah,
phone.
all of what?
I have a team that helps run it.
That's no. You can't do that. See, that's the thing. I think one of the things that's tricky about getting off of social media is that a lot of just social life is built into it. And especially if you are you create stuff on the internet, from blogger to reporter, like an independent reporter, they rely on social media to promote their work, right? That's the only real way that they can gain word of mouth traction and make a living. So it's not as simple as getting off it for your social life because you kind of feel like you have to be on it all the time. I would think, like, I think it would be really scary to be like an independent reporting Substack type thing, like Zateo, which I think is really cool. But it takes real bravery to do journalism like that. Or Ken Klippenstein's a better example. Just a lone wolf out there. Taylor Lorenz, friend of the channel. So that's like more fearless, right? Because there's more at stake. But if you're the kind of person that can afford a social media team and you can go on TV, that's a little bit different. Like, I'm sure Ken Klippenstein would love to have a person that he can just have post his stuff while we can just like hang out and not have to be on his phone, but he can't do that.
I really, everyone has an opinion about me. I could care less.
And also for kids, like homework is all on your tablet and stuff, so you're there. You might as well fuck around. Same thing with computers.
That has happened over the 3 months.
Here's what people don't realize is that before it was phone, it was computer.
Charlie was murdered. Is that people have gone
but maybe
through
Erica Kirk is saying
thousands,
it's Bible.
maybe tens of thousands of hours of words he produced. He said more in 31 years than most people will say in a lifetime.
Yeah, it's also you're still
and
contributing
I want to read a few
to it.
that have captured the most attention.
You're still dropping turds in the toilet bowl.
Okay?
Yeah.
Some gun deaths
To use
were,
the classic
quote, unfortunately
expression.
worth it to preserve the Second Amendment, he said.
I'm going to throw out my back sitting in this shitty
Acknowledging
chair.
that he wished he didn't feel this way, he said, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Oh, damn. Okay, Barry Weiss. I was not expecting her to confront Erica Kirk with something like this. Okay. A little bit of respect. Am I wrong? I mean, I understand that this is the bare minimum, but I did not expect the bare minimum. They don't call her Barry Weiss for nothing. Sorry. Quick water of life.
He said the Civil Rights Act of 1964
She's shaking her
mistake.
head, but he did
now,
say
I realize that all of those quotes come from longer conversations that he had on his show.
Correct.
But he did say those things.
Correct.
And Charlie...
Okay, unless the next thing he said was just kidding, that was a bit. Can you imagine if I actually thought that? Then it doesn't matter that it was like there's a longer version of it where he said more problematic shit. It's a longer conversation, and you understand the way our propaganda is supposed to work is that we slide in those little nuggets of racism in longer word salad, so it's a little bit harder to identify what we're saying.
Being memorialized by
this
many
lays bare
people
what we're doing.
as a person who promoted civil discourse, as a person who said, come
Yeah,
to the
that's
front
the
of the line,
context
let's have a
ambulance
civil
rolling through.
conversation. How do you square that?
Yeah, she
with
like
the
is
statements I
backing
just
off.
I would love for...
Whoa, and wait, how did you? Because I was blabbing. Sorry.
People, as a person who promoted civil discourse, as a person who said, come to the front of the line, let's have a civil conversation.
Oh, no! How can I pay attention when her face is so much more interesting than the objectively interesting thing that's also happening surrounding her? I never got
People, as a person who
confirmation on her
promoted
hair
civil
extensions.
discourse, as a person who said, come to the front of the line, let's have a civil conversation.
Oh, shit. I meant to
Would
mute
love-
my mic so I could blow my nose, and I muted the Erica Kirk thing.
For everyone to be able to watch the full and entire clip of what he said. Charlie didn't care what skin color you were. He didn't care what religion you were. He loved excellence. He loved knowing that people, his favorite word was earn.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That's amazing. In my naivete, I thought she was going to end that sentence with Charlie loved everyone. He didn't care what skin color you were, but she didn't say that. She said Charlie loved excellence. And that, I mean, that is the classic fallback for the like conservative argument. I don't know if that really has anything to do with conservatism, but that's what they say. Like, I'm not racist, I'm just meritocratic. That's why I think affirmative action needs to go away. And that's why I hate DEI. You know, it's white supremacy, is what Christina's saying. Like, we created, and I'm saying we because I'm white, So, and my dad was George Washington. What? I don't. this this is kind of getting away from me. This thing I'm talking about. It might be gone, but no. Like white people created this racist system that was rigged in favor of white people, and black people were considered 3/5 of people, and those systems are still in place, right? That was never uprooted. And so we created systems, ironically white people created systems so that they could better follow the Civil Rights Act. That's why DEI exists, is it's stuff that corporate white people came up with so that they could like be in compliance with this stuff. But for racist people, they want a society where white people have more privileges, or where their perceived in-group has more privileges than a perceived out-group. I think that's why a lot of legal immigrants tricked themselves into thinking that they wouldn't be targeted, because they're like, well, I did things the right way. That means I'm like really American. I'm with the in-group. But it's like not to racist people. It's not about that for them at the end of the day. And like Christians are the guy who died on that lowercase t necklace that she's rocking there, Jesus Christo, he loved everyone. And that's the pithy thing most Christians would say, but that's not what she said. She said he loved excellence. And this is framed in response to her, to Perry Weiss, reading her the comment about black pilots. So she's saying, he's not saying that all black pilots are bad, just the ones who are less excellent.
He loved knowing that people worked hard to earn what they got.
And black pilots don't work hard enough,
to build
is what Charlie was saying.
The first statement you meant about guns and shooting, I have no idea the context of that, and I have no idea what he was, that whole, there's a lot
it's a
more
good
there
question.
than just that one little sentence. My husband is not to be deteriorated to 2 sentences. Mm-hmm. He's not. He is a thought.
He doesn't have to be. I mean, Perry Weiss just read you like 8 sentences of his that were all pretty bad.
Leader, and he was brilliant of a man.
He was brilliant of a man.
Take words out of his mouth or out of context without the whole thing.
No shame. I've been doing it the whole time.
But that's
for real. Like, I understand this, and this is another, like, we all understand that sometimes people do get taken out of context, and that there is an online dogpiling, bullying culture, cancel culture, whatever, like, blah, blah, blah. We all know that is a thing that happens, but no, this is not that. Your husband has a legacy of only hatred. He never actually did anything good his whole life. And the only thing he was ever on camera doing was spreading hate and division.
Does it bother you that people are picking
It's the only
out
reason
those
why he was
statements
famous.
and drawing an entire picture of who he was?
Again,
people did draw some pretty unflattering
you're
pictures
not
of Charlie
having
Kirk.
a conversation. You're having a 15-second
Like
clip on the
caricatures.
internet to define your thought.
You're
of who
having a
someone is,
15-second
instead
clip.
of taking
That's what
the
you're
time
having.
to educate yourself on truly who that person is, what they thought, because why they challenged you.
Can we trust
to think a
those?
little-
I'm struggling with trusting anything and knowing what's real sometimes. Not like, the point where I'm losing my mind necessarily, but like following the Candace Owens thing, I can't, because I'm like, well, what? I haven't started going down that rabbit hole yet, really. Like, I listened to something 3 weeks ago, and the story has evolved like 80 times since then.
Different. Again, my husband.
But is the accusation, maybe Barry Weiss brings it up, but is the accusation that Erica Kirk did the hit, like, is that the reason why it's so controversial? Or is it just the fact that Candace Owens is clearly monetizing this real person's death? Not like us on this channel. That's not, this channel's monetized, but very different, because Candace Owens is more famous, and she's saying stuff that's bad.
Was an amazing man. We're human. But I do not once, for 1 second,
think he was anything else.
Okay. If you say I can't once for 1 second and then you pause for about 5 seconds, and we can get a count, I think you might be lying.
Again, my husband was an amazing man.
Mm-hmm.
We're human.
Right.
But I do not once, for 1 second.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6
Think
Mississippi.
he was anything else.
It's pretty bad. I mean, that's 6 Mississippis. So she doesn't think it for 1 second, but how about 6 seconds? And if you can crack that math, you win our this week's special game. Look under your seat.
Erica, as you know, the last person that Charlie ever spoke to was a Utah Valley student named Hunter Kozak. He was asking Charlie a question that day.
Wait, the shooter's name was Hunter Kozak? Or the person that... Why does that sound like a comic book name?
Charlie ever spoke to
It's a cool name.
was a Utah Valley student named Hunter Kozak. He was asking Charlie a question that day when he was shot, and he's here tonight, and he wants to ask you a question.
Oh, yeah. I saw I mean, Andrew Callaghan can suck a fuck, but I did watch his interview with this guy. And, you know, the thing with Andrew Callaghan or whatever is he doesn't really talk, and so he just lets people talk. And so I listened to this guy talk, and he seems like a very, very empathetic, sweet guy.
Hi there.
Like, so much more charitable than I am being.
Erica, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your calls for peace and unity. And I'm likewise horrified by the people in my so-called camp who were cheering about Charlie's murder.
Right. Good point by Leica Fox. She acted like she didn't even know the quotes, but other people need to educate themselves about who he is. Okay. Yeah, that was just a totally contradictory thing, and that's good. You see, they try and pull little tricks on us, and we can't catch them all.
I
but
believe
together,
that they stoke the flames of violence.
we can open up our
But even worse is when powerful and influential people on either side of the aisle stoke the flames. When they do it, the flames can become an inferno. And this leads me to Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth, who has more responsibility than anyone else to put the flames out. Just last month, President Trump called on 6 Democratic lawmakers to be tried for sedition, which he clarified was punishable by death. He then reposted a simple message: hang them.
Okay, all right, so here's what I'll say. I don't actually know if this is notably worse than a normal CBS sit-down with Erica Kirk. Like, if it wasn't Barry Weiss, a person who I generally find distasteful, and it was whatever generic old white guy from CBS sitting down with her and did the exact same thing, would it seem... I think it would still be bad, but would it be worse than their normal level of questioning? Because, I mean, like, this is, like, for TV, for a live interview on a mainstream channel. Like, this is a pretty spicy question.
I think
yes,
you've been making
also
strides to bring peace to our country, and that turning point has been asking Democrats to decry the individuals who cheer for violence.
I know that we're saying can words be violence, but can eyes be violence?
I have and will continue to decry them.
If looks
but
could
any
kill.
good faith effort to stop political violence must hold both parties to the same standard and expectation.
Actually stealing
their
your souls,
spirit,
and your
will
soul
you condemn
becomes
the
the
violent
eyeliner.
rhetoric of Donald Trump, the most powerful and influential person on earth?
That's what it
I
is.
appreciate your question.
Wow. I mean, we can't count Mississippi's for them all, but you'd think she would have had something prepared for
You know
this.
my heart. Why would I ever say, yes, go murder people?
Nobody's saying that. We talked about this, Erica.
This is so much deeper than just one. I understand your sentiment.
Right. Is she? Does she really believe in God? Because I think
this
she
is
was
also so much deeper
pulling
than
a
just one
Topher
person.
Grace in Spider-Man 3 and saying, God,
This
I want you to
starts at the
kill
home.
Peter Parker.
Okay? This
What a
starts with
movie.
family. This starts
Big
with
choices.
a seed that grows and grows. You can choose to have evil in your heart, or you can choose to have light. What you consume and what you absorb from the outside
You can choose
world
evil or you can choose
will
excellence.
manifest itself. No, I will never agree with political violence.
Oh my God.
My husband is a victim of it. I'm a victim of it.
It feels like we're like a
what I'm
few
trying to say here
notches
is that
away
we
from a
can
good episode of
blame
Monk with what we have going
everyone
on here,
else.
with the cremated Charlie Kirk remains turning into the eyeliner ashes.
We have to look in the mirror when you become a father, when you become a mother.
The
How you raise
diamonds,
your kids.
they were around her eyes
Are
the
you
whole
taking
time. It's her diamond
responsibility,
eyeliner.
or are you giving them a device?
Like that guy in Monk who you're thinking, where's all his gold? Let's read his notebooks full of clues. And then you realize that the book was written with the gold ink, and so that the books themselves are the valuable things. It makes you think.
And saying, go down that rabbit hole. I'm trying to
This
go
is
to
the clip I
Pilates
used for
class.
the intro.
You can just sit in the corner and look at your iPad or look at your phone and go down that rabbit hole and see what you can learn from that instead of being a parent.
But what does that have to do with
So
Trump?
my call to action from that
that's what he asked
is
about.
Parents, step up.
In parents.
Do you want your kid
What?
to be a thought leader or an assassin? That's where we're at.
Do you think our political leaders have a responsibility to turn
I think
the temperature?
most people, by the way, who the fuck wants to be a thought leader? I don't want to be a thought leader. I just want to be like a person. I just want to, like, I'm fine having my thoughts, and I obviously am okay saying them on the internet, but I don't need to, like, be leading the way with anything I'm thinking.
You're down right now.
Well, I think everyone
I think
has a
most people just want their
responsibility
kids to
do
be,
that,
like,
and I'm doing
healthy
my
and
part.
safe and have a good life.
I'm not in control of other people.
I'm saying there's other
Okay.
things that an assassin you
Ahead,
can be.
a father whose daughter was murdered in cold blood because of who she was. He's here.
Whoa.
Also, political violence
Why?
and the conspiracy theories surrounding Charlie Kirk's
Yeah, cool.
assassination.
Question not answered. Moving on. Snorting the ashes, and that's accounting. Whoa. Why are they doing Do you talk to people with different political views? A lot / sometimes online, 40%. In person, 52%. Almost never 60%. In person, 48%. What? I would say that this makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I talk to people with different political views a lot, mostly at work in person. But I do kind of try and avoid those kind of conversations online now, just because I think they're pointless. All right, well, we've got some data.
Never before has conservatism, the ideas of freedom, liberty, American exceptionalism, been so popular on these college campuses.
Welcome back to our CBS News Town Hall with Erica Kirk.
Don't do any polling about that.
Bob Milgram.
I mean, that's
is the
probably true. Yeah, it's probably up from like 6% to 10%.
father of Sarah Milgram. Sarah was fatally shot last May outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C.,
Oh, boy.
alongside Yaron Lashinsky, her boyfriend. Sarah was just 26 years old.
Are they going to do this political? Are they going to make it about Israel, Palestine?
She was killed. Bob, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Barry. Hello, Erica. Just as
Zora
our family
Mamtani
could not anticipate the
said
pain
something
we've
like
been
globalized
going through
antifada.
following
What do
the
you think
murder
about
of
that?
our daughter Sarah.
Remember
There's
that?
no way I can understand the pain that you and your children are going through as a result of Charlie's tragic death. Our daughter was killed because of anti-Semitism, hate against Jews, and hate against the Jewish homeland, Israel. We know about the growth of anti-Semitism on the left,
Whoa.
including here in New York City, where the mayor-elect still will not condemn
What?
the phrase.
I promise I didn't pre-watch this. This is so cartoony. I thought that would be a little too absurd.
Globalize.
I forgot that they want to make him a villain.
What I want you to address is growing anti-Semitism on the right, including Holocaust denial,
Yeah.
anti-Zionism,
Well, that's good.
and the
Well,
normalizing of centuries-old conspiracy theories about Jews.
okay, one of those things is not like the other, by the way. Not believing in ethnostates, being anti-Zionist is not the same thing as those other two things. like Holocaust
Will you here
denialism.
condemn the individuals spreading that hate and speak out clearly
Nick
enough
Fuentes.
against anti-Semitism so we can prevent another tragedy?
Yes, sir.
Did they ask her about Nick Fuentes?
First of all, I'm so sorry. You and I are a part of a very small club. Painful. But you're in good company, and I will pray for you.
You know, it's actually not that small of a club. There's been like 389 mass shootings in the United States this year. So more shootings than days. It's absolutely insane. So even this start of this answer feels a little like politicized to me. But yeah, Charlie Kirk was close friends with the Holocaust denier, Candace Owens.
Sucks, doesn't it?
Oh, God. What are we doing? Also, all right, this is fake. We don't have to talk about this. This is awkward. It's awkward because it's like they're talking about real things, but this whole thing is in such poor taste. You know what I find shocking is how horrible on camera Barry Weiss is. Just like absolutely no charisma. Seems to struggle with looking like a person when reading the teleprompter. Just seems like a robot. Sucks. Just absolutely sucks. Not only do her politics sucks, but she's not good at her job. Like, you know, most of those people on Fox, they're pretty good on TV. Like, they're good at what they do, even if what they do is evil. And Barry Weiss isn't even good at it. It's like when Carrie tried to be a news anchor on Succession. We're rewatching Succession right now.
It's awful. Awful.
Yeah, they turned this real tragedy, these two real tragedies, into a circus.
What healing factor comes out of hating Jewish people? What healing factor comes out of hating Christians?
Great point by Chronic Rock. Says calling it a small club so that they don't have to acknowledge that their politics makes this common. Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. Charlie Kirk consistently downplayed these things and absolutely played into anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
What healing factor comes out?
And his best friends with
hate in
one
general.
of our leading anti-Semites, although there's many to choose from these days.
Nothing.
Nick Fuentes. Or Candace Owens.
Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. We've been to Israel.
He said some wonderful things.
And to be able to walk in the place where our Lord
I know.
walked,
It's improbable, but it is
and see
nonetheless
the Bible
true.
come to life in Technicolor. How could you hate that
What?
place?
What?
How could you hate?
Let's not. Can we not and say we did? I don't feel like I can stomach this. It's in such horrible poor taste. I'm gonna skip forward a little
We
bit.
need to do our best, which we are doing. We're doing our part. We're going to continue to do our part.
This sounds like bullshit. Let's see the lead up to this, maybe.
Sentiment of everything I just said. We have Shabbat dinner happening at Amfest. We have individuals of chapters who are Jewish. We have people that are going to be having.
She's doing a cultural
booths. We have an exhibit
appropriation.
hall at Amfest that are Jewish, that have Jewish organizations.
I have Jewish friends,
The only
guys.
way to combat evil.
This is
just
why
like
I don't
Charlie
have
did
any
is
friends.
with
Okay.
dialogue and not being afraid to do it. If you have these
Wait, what did
things
that
that
have
are
to do
being
with
said,
anything?
you need to counter it with the truth.
What's wrong with her eyes? You know that story I tell in you know, like it's a thing people will know. I tell a story about an evil ex girlfriend in my video about why I left the witnesses, and she had these eyes. Like after I broke up with her, everyone was like, "Yeah, we knew she was crazy. She had the crazy eyes." And I was like, "Why couldn't I see the crazy eyes?" And it's because of the mixture of conventionally attractive and crazy
And
eyes.
if you don't, there's a void.
If you have brain
and a
problems
vacuum. And so,
and are functionally an incel,
even though they're a small
you know,
number, they get louder and louder
So we need to do our best.
I
Which
guess
we
what
are
I'm
doing
saying
our,
is this is
we're doing our
triggering.
part. We're going to continue to do our part
Dead,
to make sure that the truth is always heard.
distant,
We'll amplify it even more.
performative look
And we're going to do the
at all
best we can.
times.
But we need the whole community. We need everyone in on that.
Bob, thank you so much. I want to talk about discernment.
Yes.
Okay, being able to.
Can I do a quick ADHD tangent after that horrible display we just had? I asked for permission, and nobody said no. Chronic Croc says, I have a black friend, in quotes. A little recommendation is a series that Ina from Polite Conversations did called Woking Up with Sam Harris. She used to be a Sam Harris fan. If you don't know, Sam Harris is this very prominent atheist free thinker type. He was in the intellectual dark web sphere with Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson. Very embarrassing. And he's essentially had to disown all those people. And, he's been a decent advocate against Trump, but he's very Islamophobic still. And, he just always has the worst takes on everything. He was super pro-Iraq war and defended torture, and he just kind of sucks. But she plays this clip of him. He brings it up more than once, how he hates that people say that it's a problem if you don't have black friends. He's like, I don't think you could call someone racist. They don't have black friends. I don't have black friends. I mean, I do. But I don't think it, and he's clearly so bothered by it that it starts to seem conspicuous. So that's my recommendation. Watch Woking Up with Sam Harris from Ina. I think it's all on YouTube. And you will get to hear a lot of funny clips of Sam Harris being an ass.
Separate truth from lies, reality from unreality. A 22-year-old man named Tyler Robinson has been
You're
arrested
talking to somebody
and
who
charged with the
believes
murder of your husband.
in the talking donkey story from the Bible.
Conspiracy theories, you might call them brain rot, that are spreading right now online about the actual story behind the reality. One, people say that Tyler Robinson was actually a MAGA Republican. Or two, some people say you.
Well, was he? I don't know, actually. Tyler. Here's another thing. I genuinely hate conspiracy theories, and I really try not to be conspiratorial in my thinking, but, real conspiracies do happen, et cetera, et cetera. I've made videos about this, but I generally try and disregard conspiracy theories. But now, with their obsession, with the right's obsession with false flags and all that shit, I do find myself being like, are we even sure that this kid that they're saying did it actually did it? Do I really trust what? The police and the DOJ or whatever the fuck? He's still being called alleged assassin in the New York Post as of 3 days ago. I'm able to see that. Sorry, it's actually not necessarily worth it right now, but I'll look while playing the video. My deepest apologies.
Were actually a Mossad agent sitting in front of me, and you were Charlie's handler, and Israel killed Charlie.
Right.
Other people say that a number of men in the crowd were wearing maroon T-shirts, and this signifies that his killing was an elite airborne operation, whatever that means. They say that the rings on your fingers, which are
my kids' initials,
your kids' initials,
my wedding band, the Medal of Freedom, my engagement ring.
But apparently they symbolize some kind of secret plot. There's also a new...
Right, that's my level of knowledge. My familiarity with this ends with or whatever.
Theory that Egyptian aircraft have been tracking you. What is going on? Why are there so many conspiracies spreading about what seems to be a pretty open and shut case?
Because Charlie Kirk was a conspiracy theorist, and so pretty much all of his fans are conspiracy theorists, so inevitably there are going to be conspiracy theories about his death. He helped create this world where it's hard to tell what's true and what's not true. that's the political project he hitched his wagon to. And now, sure enough, it's hard to tell what really happened to him. Like, the people funding Charlie Kirk kind of made this world possible. And it's just so bizarre that aspect of it can't be acknowledged in all this. You know, we can't acknowledge the fact that it's weird that Barry Weiss is there and why she's there and why 60 Minutes sucks now. Like, it's weird that they can't acknowledge the reason why they're doing this program in the first place.
This is the first time that we have seen evil on display where we have social media at our fingertips. Something so evil that happened, people are wanting answers immediately. They are wanting to figure out how to wrap their mind around this. Egyptian planes.
Egyptian
planes.
Do you believe that Tyler Robinson murdered your husband?
Yes, I do.
Why do you think it is so?
Wow. So she said, yes, I do, very quickly. So I pulled up the Wikipedia for whatever that's worth. Under J'accuse, doesn't actually say that. Tyler James Robinson is a 22-year-old American man accused of being the shooter. The day after the shooting, his parents convinced him to come to their residence in Washington, Utah. Convinced him to come to their residence after they recognized his likeness from the news images that authorities alleged were of the shooter. As they discussed the situation, Robinson allegedly implied that he was the shooter. Robinson also told them he was fearful of being shot by police or a SWAT team being sent to his parents' house. His parents contacted a member of their LDS congregation who was a retired detective and had previously worked for the Washington County Sheriff. The retired detective called the sheriff and made arrangements for Robinson to surrender. He and, sounds like a pretty liberal hippy-dippy family. Probably some far-left person. He and Robinson's father then drove Robinson to the sheriff's office the evening of September 11th. It's a tough deal. And Robinson was taken into custody without incident. Governor Spencer Cox said the next day that Robinson was the only suspect, and yet I'm pretty sure I know who Spencer Cox is. This guy sucks. This is a Republican slimeball guy. So I don't... it's hard to know what to trust. But apropos, because somehow everything relates to fucking cults now, Robinson's family are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Robinson's grandmother said that most of the family are Republicans and added that she didn't know a single Democrat. Childhood photographs show the Robinson family on trips to shoot guns and see weapons displays. There you fucking go. In 2008, Robinson began attending Riverside Elementary School. He graduated from Pineview. I don't give a shit about that. Robinson and two family members, on May 31st, 2022, Robinson and two family members appeared in police body camera video being questioned by law enforcement after a traffic collision at an intersection. At the time of his arrest, Robinson was living in St. George, Utah, some 240 miles southwest of Utah Valley. He was at 30. Okay. Oh, right, and the Discord server shit. Okay. That's right. I feel like I remember reading, speaking of Ken Klippenstein, I felt like he did a really good report, right? About, he talked to some of the people from the Discord. And it painted a pretty complicated picture. Like, he wasn't necessarily hardcore MAGA, but he wasn't a left. Like, a lot of people who go on to be assassins, he had a really tangled, kind of bizarre ideology that isn't necessarily driven by, politics. Because what's really happening is political instability. So, the racist, violent stuff seeps in, but so does all sorts of other, delusions of grandeur things. What the fuck are we talking about? None of that matters.
For so many people to believe that reality.
Because it's too simple.
Right.
Again,
that was part of it.
Everyone always
Like,
has to think
you
there's
gotta
more to the story. Well,
trans
sometimes there's
or
not. I've seen the
partner at
autopsy
some
report.
point,
I've seen our
or
case pulled together.
roommate.
I've been in constant contact with our lawyers, the prosecuting team. I've seen it all. And let me tell you this. Why in the world, why should we, prior to the trial, lay all of our hands and cards on the table for the defense team to see, to somehow then, I don't even know what they would do with it. But what I will say, and I want to get on the Egyptian plane thing, take a flight on that for a second.
I don't understand this Egyptian plane thing they're saying. I feel like there's not going to be a way that I can get a succinct explanation of this. Charlie Kirk, Egyptian plane? It's going to be tough to get a credible source on this one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, the Times of India, not necessarily the most reliable source here. Candace Owens. Oh, shit. This is from today. This is from earlier today. Oh, God. We got to read this before ads overtake the screen and then our own faces. Candace Owens' long-running feud with Turning Point has entered another volatile chapter, keeping the assassination... accusing her of sidestepping key questions about what Owens calls the Egyptian plane angle tied to Charlie Kirk's killing. While Erica has repeatedly urged commentators to stop fueling conspiracy theories, Owens has framed her criticism as a demand for accountability rather than speculation. Okay, so what is it? The controversy flared again. Oh, where Erica... You really think I'm going to be on an Egyptian plane when I am wanting to be with my In-N-Out burger and my chocolate milkshake? Erica Kirk, completely dodging the question confronting... Okay, so... Wait, will we be able to see this quote from X? Sometimes you can't see stuff on X these days. Let's see what Candace Owens is saying. Literally, no one accused Erica or Charlie of flying on Egyptian planes, and no, you were not pregnant for the last 4 years. What? But how... Oh, we can't read the replies. So what are they saying? Can somebody give me a TLDR on the Egyptian plane thing?
Is what I'm worried about, and I'm
keep digging.
fascinated, just from a legal standpoint, to see how the United Healthcare trial pans out. And I say that because this is the first time where we are seeing the implications.
You're talking about Luigi Mangione.
Correct. I'd prefer never to say any of their names. They do not even deserve the ounce of oxygen and breath out of my body. But what
Innocent until proven guilty, motherfuckers.
I mean is it's fascinating to see how
we live in
social
this
media
society.
will impact that court case, just how it might impact mine.
Are you nervous he's not going to get a fair trial?
I'm nervous that there could be, they'll say we can't find a fair jury. Like, they're going to taint the jury pool. And in that case...
That's how widespread you think these conspiracies have gone.
Yes.
That's how mainstream they've become.
Yes.
Okay. Egyptian planes?
You want to talk about Egyptian planes?
Okay. I was pregnant for 90% of those trips. Mind you, I've never, all those places they said I've traveled, I've never been. I mean, I've been, but I'm not within those states that they've...
But you even said you need to address
No, but this is, yeah, but I do on that one, only because, from a humor standpoint.
Into the mic. Being
humor
very rude.
standpoint. I intentionally, when I was pregnant...
I genuinely hate that, so if that picked up on
Not because I was embarrassed.
my sincerest apologies.
Not because I didn't want anyone... Yes, we did keep it very private. But it's because it was a moment very sacred. I was growing a human inside of me. My baby.
Easy.
The world that Charlie and I live in is very toxic at times.
Yeah.
And when you are growing a beautiful child in you, I don't want to be around it.
Why are we saying
I want
growing
to
a
enjoy
child
eating my In-N-Out burger and my hot fudge sundae.
You're making a beautiful thing sound gross. Great face. Snap a little screenshot of that as well. It really captures the strange energy of this.
That's what I want to do. I'm pregnant, and I have 9 months to own it. You really think I'm going to be on an Egyptian plane while I am wanting to be with my In-N-Out burger and my chocolate milkshake? No, I'm not.
Without knowing anything about the
through my flight
Egyptian
log, go right
plane, wouldn't it be like
They
that the plane was bought by Egypt? And I do believe that she would be on private jets, on
in my phone to
PJs.
prove that I actually was in the
Severance
hospital
or Succession, God
because
damn
I was
it.
having contractions. So game on.
Game on.
The
I'll see
podcaster
you in
Candace
court.
Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies.
Very wise. Come on now. She's throwing stones in glass houses.
What do you want to say to her and the
To bring
other
back that
people
analogy from
that
earlier.
are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Oh,
Stop.
this is the eye thing that's been going around.
Okay. The next question comes from a person who may be familiar to you, Erica, because Charlie interviewed him for his show last August. Rob Henderson, to you.
Thank you, Barry.
Oh,
And
right,
thank you,
the other
Erica.
people.
During that discussion with Charlie, neither of us knew that was going to be the last long-form interview he would ever conduct, because his life was cut short by the actions of a very disturbed young man.
This is so weird. Can we just stop and acknowledge it's so weird that it's not even like this isn't a town hall. A town hall is when you have average citizens asking questions, but these are all people who they're acknowledging have a very direct connection to Charlie Kirk in one way or the other. And that's weird. Like, this is kind of like, it just feels like the religious propaganda that I would watch in my old stomping grounds. It feels like the Jehovah's Witness videos we watch all the time, where it's all completely scripted and totally alien from the outside. Like, I've never really seen anything like this. It defies
As someone who
categorization.
admired Charlie's ability to offer young people a productive and optimistic path, I wanted to ask, how should the conservative movement think about cultivating
'cause he
leaders
died,
and
right,
role
'cause of the-
models
ooh.
for young men? And how can it continue offering them a constructive
Young men,
alternative to
yes.
the toxic currents?
You know, I do feel bad for young men these days, but the answer is just don't trust obvious sleazy scumbag liars, okay? Just think about something for 2 seconds. I mean, this is silliness. Are they going to have a black person ask a question? Like, it seems kind of notable to me that his absolutely reprehensible comments about African Americans are not being addressed by African Americans. You know what I'm saying? Like, Barry Weiss kind of asked her about the pilots, which led us to that amazing Charlie cared about every excellence.
Charlie so astutely
moment.
criticized.
It's a great question. First of all, your interview was amazing. It's one of my favorite ones to look back on. Charlie connected with you very well. And I can always tell when he does on his show. I've always watched his show. And I could always tell
That's
because
so weird.
his
I'll have you know, my wife does not watch every episode of my show, and it'd be weird if she
questions
did.
and his engagement would shift. And he always loved that conversation with you. It is my responsibility to make sure that the youth is in good hands. Our chapter leaders are amazing. And there's some leaders within those groups you guys have not even seen or heard about yet. But you will one day. And you'll be blown away because they are amazing kids. We had 2 of them at our gala event this weekend, and they spoke in front of our donors. It was the first time I ever met them.
They do see these 2 could be
Phenomenal
a power couple.
Kids. Not only are they smart, they have a heart.
Yeah, wait, good call.
Do they have a heart?
Like a fox. Are these interviews? Are these 2 microphones taped together? They are. They're like there's like Velcro or tape around it or something. Why?
They can understand and see the Gen Z landscape in a way that we can't.
Why do they have to be touching? Are they gay microphones?
And from a peer-to-peer communication level, they're phenomenal.
Oh, peer-to-peer.
So I personally, having a front row seat,
Jesus was always talking about peer-to-peer
the
communication
courageous
levels
generation,
with chapter leaders.
They're amazing. Yes, there are bad apples. Millennials, we
Bad
got them
apples.
too. So do the baby boomers.
Oh, and she can still find ways to laugh
Gen
in this
X.
difficult time.
No one's escaping the bad apples. It's just the
Oh,
match.
I know. I haven't escaped
But
that metaphor my whole
it is
life,
our
and it doesn't appear to be
responsibility,
dying
my
anytime
responsibility,
soon.
Our team's responsibility to make sure
You can't escape the bad
that our
apples.
chapters are cultivating those leaders. So when they leave high school,
You know that the reason why we have chapters is because that's how the Bible's written. Chapter and verse. That's right there in God's Word, the
and
good
they
book.
decide not to go to college, they're in the workforce, being incredible people and incredible leaders. They might not be
As rich as me.
influencers. Not everyone's
Oh.
meant to. Everyone plays a very specific role.
Yeah.
But they'll be someone in something very important, and they'll plant seeds. And that's all you have to do.
Plant your
is
seed.
plant the seed.
Become fruitful and many and
then
fill the earth.
let truth
You have
grow
dominion
from
over
there.
the base of the field.
But thank you again for the time that you spent with my husband on that final conversation. It meant a lot to him. It
Thanks
means
for
a lot to me
hosting
to
a
be able to have that
podcast
to show my
interview,
baby.
for spending time with him. Like what? Were there ad reads on this podcast?
Please, one day.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Coming up,
Thank you to
should
you and your
women focus on
podcast
their
and
careers
Hello
or building
Fresh.
their families?
It was so
We'll ask
wonderful
Erica Kirk
what you
what
three
she
did.
believes as a mom and now as a CEO.
Oh yeah, great. Now as a CEO, that's what we really want to hear. How do you balance work and family? I'm skipping forward a little bit. Importance of religion. What a depressing figure. 45% of people are squares.
Look, it wasn't about politics. It wasn't about policy. It was
Stop in the name of God.
the Jewish
This is
Sabbath,
not
which-
real. That is like the aforementioned 30 Rocker Arrested Development cutaway. Stop in the name of God. It feels like something that would be on that show that Job was on with Anne. That's absurd. That is completely absurd. I'm obsessed.
about the Jewish Sabbath, which he kept
I'm trying
for
to get that
25
from the
hours,
library.
starting sundown on Friday
That's
night
content.
through sundown on Saturday
Okay, so this is
night.
book. This is book?
What made Charlie
Whoa. So we went from everything computer, everything's phone, and now everything's about to be book. Not Bible, but book.
so passionate about this subject?
He was on the verge of burnout, and he thought to himself, what can I be doing? And he always
good
loved the
burnout
10
degenerate.
Commandments. And then he saw it, honoring the Sabbath. And he realized that if you don't, this one commandment, this one,
Can you fuck
if
on the
you
Sabbath?
don't
I mean, how
honor
boring
it,
was their marriage?
you're the one who misses out on the gift, not God.
One wonders with how quickly she adopted leather the second his corpse hit the casket.
Are you keeping it?
I'm trying my best.
Is it helping?
It is. I feel close to him. I
Keeping
break it
what?
apart, though.
What are you talking about? Hang on. No, I went back way too
Friday
far.
night through sundown on Saturday night.
I'm sorry.
Are
I
you
ruined
keeping it?
everything.
I'm trying my best.
That we could get.
Is it helping?
Are you keeping
The
what?
Sabbath. And he realized that if you don't, this one commandment, this one, if you don't honor it, you're the one who misses out on the gift, not God.
Are you keeping it?
I'm trying my best.
Oh, the fucking Sabbath.
Is it
What a weird way to say that. You keeping it. I thought she was talking about like an object or the fucking baby. Like, I know that you don't want to be together, but I'm keeping it. The Sabbath.
Helping.
It is. I feel close to him. I break it apart.
Wait,
though.
that's weird, right?
So instead of a full,
it's kind of weird for. I mean, they are famously Christian. That's what their whole thing is all about. She's wearing that T necklace. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, of course, know that Jesus died on an upright stick. His hands were just up in the air like that. And sure, maybe there was a lateral beam sometimes in the newer paintings, but those are a little bit, I don't know. It absolutely feels like CBN. Great call. We were talking about that earlier.
24 straight. I'll break it apart only because my mom's sick, and I need to be available because I'm her medical power of attorney, so I need to be available if something happens.
Bear Weiss is like, oh, okay, so you're full of shit.
And so I...
Lord, are we allowed to take care of our sick moms on the Sabbath? I don't know. She's finding all these loopholes for the Sabbath, but she can't get around the idea that maybe gay people weren't even mentioned in the Bible in the first place.
I make it what works for me.
Mistranslation or whatever
but that's
that documentary
what was so
was about.
That. Charlie wasn't legalistic about it. He's like, make it your own.
Erica, you have made a lot of comments that a lot of people have noticed about women, suggesting, you know this, right? Suggesting that women should get married young, that they should have children young, that they should prioritize family over their careers. And at the same time,
I mean, she's pedophile adjacent.
You are now doing both. You now have 2 young children, I think both under the age of 3.
How do you balance work and family?
Of Turning Point. Square that for us.
Right.
Some people look at you and say, you know, she's trying to make it a binary choice. You can be the trad wife or the girl boss, but look at her having both. What do you say to
She's
that?
having it all. You really can have it all, ladies. Now,
right.
you
Well, I didn't ask,
actually do have to be obedient to the patriarchy. Like, you are going to have to be submissive to your husband and follow the Bible. But if miraculously, maybe by signing up for an MLM, so you can make all this wonderful money on the side, you can be independent enough that you can also be a girl boss, and you just go on TV and pretend like you're a real fucking trad wife Christian.
Obviously it's a blessing that I view it as a blessing.
The money
it's a duty
that you were
to my
left
husband
by Charlie Kirk,
but
the insane amount of wealth.
I was very happy being a stay-at-home mom. There's nothing wrong with being
so
a
happy.
mother.
This person screams
There's actually more beautiful and emotional.
Nobody thinks there's anything wrong with being a mother. Like, that's just because there's not as much societal pressure on people to have kids right now, and a lot of women feel comfortable choosing not to have children. That doesn't mean that they're like, yeah, I don't want to have kids because being mom is bad. Everything is computer and mom, and mom bad.
Job title, if you will, being a mother. And for
the
me,
job title, if you will,
I experienced what it was like living in New York, living that boss babe culture. But when I met Charlie,
God's own word,
and we had our babies, I was in it. That was all hands on deck. I would take that world in a heartbeat. Always. But you know what? There was never any daylight between Charlie and I, and his mission was my mission. So stepping into this role is not so much a job title. This is not a 9-to-5 for me. This is something that I'm very passionate about because it's...
Oh, good. She doesn't treat being a mom like a 9-to-5, and it's something that she's really passionate about. It sounds like she's trying to, like... It looks like this is a job interview for being a mom, and she's doing a bad job.
Still a remaining, breathing version of my husband, this Turning Point USA. So this organization is not just a company to me.
I actually,
and the staff and employees are not staff and employees, they're family.
It's very important to me.
And so for me, it's a lot different and a lot deeper than a career. This is very personal. But
very personal.
Yes, it is hard. But at the same day, it takes a village. And
why is being a TV personality who tours around the world, literally on a stage, like a big fucking circus tent, why is that so important? Can't you just leave us alone?
One heck of a village.
We have a woman here that has a question perfectly calibrated to this part of our conversation. I want to hand it over to
Isabella
Reggi.
This whole thing's fucking planned.
Thank you. And Erica, you and your family are in my prayers.
Thank you.
I'm a 26-year-old Christian woman living in New York City. I would like to stay here long term.
This is not the... Wait, Isabella Regina. I thought this might have been that Christian college student, like junior in college, who tried to be a grifter by writing like psychology paper that was all about God. She got a 0 on her test, blah, blah, blah. Listen to the new episode of A Bit Fruity. It's a masterpiece. It's great because all episodes of that show are great. I thought this was that person maybe, but I think it's not. No, because that person's name is Full Necky. How could I forget that name?
But I wonder whether it's sustainable. Do you believe there's a place for women like myself in modern cities who care about having a career, but also marrying a like-minded Christian conservative man?
Well, yeah, so it just depends.
You know, these fucking Republicans are kind of keeping us from having a very normie Republican friendly life. Like we just kind of want to be normies. We have kids. We just can't fucking afford it because you guys suck at governing on purpose.
Depends on where you're looking. You know, if you're on the apps, I don't know if you're on the apps. I don't know if I'm not going to ask you your personal journey.
Christian mingle,
but what I will
Kingdom
say
cuties.
is when I lived out here, I was here for 5 years. I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than go. I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way.
It's okay.
But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. So it goes twofold here. So if you're expecting to marry someone that I was blessed with, like a Charlie, you have to be the type of woman that will attract
blessed
a Charlie.
With like a Charlie.
Are you going to church? Are you going to Bible study? Did you tell your pastor that you are ready?
This is fucking JW Broadcasting. Are you going to church? Did you do your weekly Bible study? Could you be spending more time in the ministry? I am Sam Hurd, and for some reason, I have an urge to say, Mommy.
Mommy, when I get out, call me Sammy.
That seemed extra loud. Sorry about that. But this is just actual Christian propaganda.
This is absolutely absurd and offensive to the intellect
or to bring into your life the man that you've been praying for. You yourself need to be prepared for that man, and only you will know how to do that.
Be prepared for
Does that
that
mean staying
man.
out and going out with the
Fuck
girls?
off.
I'm not saying you sit on your couch and all of a sudden he's going to knock on your door and be like, honey,
I don't think I'll be
let's
able to get it
rendezvous.
up.
But that's not how it happens.
Yeah,
it's not. Granted, my situation was a little different. I wouldn't do it.
You went to a job interview.
Literally. So this is how good the Lord is. He knew.
Get this off of mainstream television. This is how good the Lord is. Disgusting.
That because I was not dating in New York City. He knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview. Because if that went in, no joke, if he came to me and said, hey, let's go on a date to Bill's Burgers, I'd be like, I am so sorry. Thank you, but no, we're not doing this. That was my mindset. I was not in that headspace. I just wasn't. But God will work in incredible ways when you surrender the pen for him to write your love story. And when you know that, look, if I remain in the jet stream of God's will, he will provide for me in ways I cannot even imagine.
The jet stream of God's will.
My prayer for you.
Surfing USA. Surf's up, Big Kahuna. We're just riding the jet stream of God's will, dude.
Is to remain open. And said, hey, let's go on a date to Bill's Burgers, I'd be like, I am so sorry. Thank you, but no, we're not doing this. That was my mindset. I was not in my headspace. I just wasn't. But God will work in incredible ways when you surrender the pen for him to write your love story. And when you know that, look, if I remain in the jet stream of God's will, he will provide for me in ways I cannot even imagine. And that is
I cannot even imagine those words that she just said. if you remain in the jet stream of God's will. Oh my God. All right, we're actually almost done, and we like to do kind of a 7th inning stretch here on the channel. She's not available for comment at this time, but because this is the current status of Peaches. Taking a little peach break, and how it would be deeply irresponsible of me to break this up. So photo credit to Christina for that. That's absurd. She's so cute. Okay. God, what a sweetie pie. Doesn't this just remind you that there are good things in the world after all? It's not all Barry Weiss and Erica Kirk. But
My
it is
prayer
right
for
now.
you is to remain open and to
My
remain
prayer for
prayerful
you.
and to let people around you know, old school style, I'm ready and I'm looking to get married and having a family. You can always have your career. Being able to have a family,
Take it old school, God
truly
style.
is a very limited, short window. You can start your career if you have people and it's amazing business, have other people run it. You can still manage it. You can still pour into it, but you.
What is this? Have other people run it. You know, all the other people in your life that you definitely have who can run a business for you while you. What? Thank you, darling. I just received a little refill on the water of life.
The water of life.
All right, sorry.
Have your babies, and then once your babies are grown and the nest is empty, go back to your career. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't have a career, you have your babies, the Lord's going to inspire something inside of you that you're like, you know what? There's a
Just hit a quick 18-year pause on all your dreams, and then you pick right back up where you left
problem.
off.
I have a solution. How many baby companies have been born out of moms? You know,
how many baby companies have been born out of moms? Now that's a question. How many baby companies have been born out of moms?
You have your babies, the Lord's going to inspire something inside of you that you're like, you know what? There's a problem. I have a solution. How many baby companies have been born out of moms? You know, like the little carrier seat or a stroller.
Okay, I see. In my head, I'm imagining just like, yeah, I work at the baby company. Not even Boss Baby, like an adult clocking in at the baby factory.
We live for that carrier seat.
Right, 100%.
They have a
I'm not trying to plug them for like
a
something,
whistle
so I'm just trying not to even say the name. But you understand my sentiment
stuff on an
is
assembly
that
line.
there's something really special and beautiful about making sure that you are the woman that your future husband deserves, and vice versa.
Wow.
Do not settle.
What a creepy
Thanks,
way
Isabella.
of framing things, which was
Up
the
next,
exact way I was
the
raised
emotional
with.
moment that Erica Kirk forgave her husband's alleged murderer.
Okay, do we fucking care anymore? Do we care? I'm tapping out. I know I said 7th inning stretch, but sometimes it's 3 up, 3 down, and then it's fucking time to drive home. And I want to beat the traffic. I know what you're saying. Aren't you in your second bedroom? And are we doing baseball analogies now? Don't worry about that. This was an endurance test, and I actually had a lot of fun watching that. Thanks for sticking along for a very exclusive ride. I feel like this will definitely get hit with a copyright strike. But you can always watch my live streams. I'll have a video coming out later this week for sure, actually, because I have it up on my other screen right now. But it's a really good interview, like genuinely. I know interviews aren't necessarily like what people sign up for the channel about. We'll work on that grammar in post, but this is a really excellent one with April LaJoy, former Christian nationalist who wrote Star Spangled Jesus, and it serves as like a nice Christian nationalism 101 / leaving a cult story, and it's really fun. So yeah, do like and subscribe and all that shit. All right, thanks everyone. Let's watch this again and see if it was good. I don't remember.
My husband is a device. I'm trying to go to Pilates class. You can just sit in the corner and look at your iPad or look at your hole and see what you can learn from that instead of being a device. So my call to action from that is, parents, do you want your kid to be a thought or an ass? That's where we're at.
Do you think our political leaders have a responsibility to turn their temperature?
Well, I think everyone has a responsibility to grow. I'm going to do that, and I'm doing my part.